Hey, F Baby here, another farming route for you today. We're heading to Hews Bane. It's a DLC zone, although I'm pretty sure everybody has access to it. It's not a very popular zone. You go here to do the Thieves quest, Thieves Guild quest, and then you just leave. Nobody comes back to it. But the place we're going is next to Zot's Way Shrine, or Zot's Displeasure Way Shrine. It's called Prince Hews Shuttered Tomb. It's a little bit confusing to get to just because it looks like it's straightforward on a map, but you do have to take a little bit of a non-intuitive route. Once you're here, you'll see that there are a ton of ore nodes all on the map. You can see here on the map, I've actually flagged everything that is going to be available for us because we do always want to run through and grab everything that we can, even though I don't really demonstrate that here. I'm just trying to get to where I'm going. Full disclosure, I was fighting with my mouse a little bit here in this video, so if you see a couple wonky camera spins, etc., my bad, sorry, just mouse decided to be a butt right at the wrong time. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and make a loop here. It is a pretty straightforward loop. There's a little bit that I add on. You will find this route in other videos. I believe it's been called the Secret Millionaires Ore route. It's not much of a secret because everybody knows it. This is not someplace I recommend going at peak hours. I do have a couple videos coming up that will show you some places that you can farm ore when everybody is crowded in. But the great thing about this route is that all the ore nodes here respond so fast. They are on, I think it's maybe 2.5 minutes. So it is about as fast as a starter zone. But anyway, we are going to go in a loop around Hews Bane's Shuttered Tomb, or Prince Hews Shuttered Tomb, I guess. There's a little bit of a jaunt we do off to the side. You'll see that in just a moment, but it is pretty straightforward. This route is not good for much of anything but ore, although I will find some heartwood here, and that makes me pretty happy because heartwood is probably, I'd say, the third or fourth most valuable thing you could farm, and it's not really easy to farm because it's a chance from wood nodes. We'll get to some wood and leather farming videos a little bit later, maybe next month, but for now we're going to focus on ore because chromium plating sells like crazy, and both zircon and iridium plating are incredibly valuable as well, and they're much more valuable than all of the blue and purple tier items that you can get from other resources. So that's why I focus on ore. Ore nodes also tend to respawn faster. My theory is that it's because rubidite ore and platinum spawn from the same thing, so they respawn a little bit quicker. But again, I don't actually know that, and I don't know that Zoss has ever actually said anything along those lines. So I am just guessing here. I've also noticed that smaller zones tend to have a faster respawn time. Again, I'm not sure that that is true. I don't know that there's actual data. I've tried to time it a couple times, but even compared to farming, sitting and waiting for a node to respawn is incredibly fucking boring. So I never finished it. I'm sure that somebody out there has gotten it all down. There are a lot of smart people who've been playing this game for a really long time. So I figured they've got it all figured out. You're definitely going to want to watch out for this scorpion right here. I don't know why, but this guy always detects me when I'm stealthing around. He's the most perceptive scorpion that's ever existed. So you'll see later in the video, he actually straight up attacks me. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know why he's sitting here guarding random ore nodes. There's no food here. Go home, Mr. Scorpion. The lion that's coming up also tends to get me from time to time, not because he's so perceptive, but because I'm not perceptive, so I forget that he's there. That's not the lion's fault. As you can see here, the route is pretty straightforward. We're already back to where we started. Everything has respawned. I don't think that there is much to add in terms of like what you can do for the route. There will be times where there will be other people here, both people doing quests and people who are here to farm. A lot of times, if you're faster than them and you just stay on the route, they'll leave and you can farm in peace. Every once in a while, you will try to fight somebody for this route, and I will cover what to do when you find yourself absolutely needing to farm here and you want to fight somebody for a route, maybe in a very future video. It is something that, while I find fun, I know a lot of people don't necessarily like fighting other people for farming spot. Like I mentioned in the last video, I try to stealth farm everything. I don't like fighting stuff. One, it takes time. Two, you get stuck in combat sometimes. And three, I'm bad at this game. So you will see me kill a couple lions and scorpions in this video, but that is mostly because I was not paying that much attention and I just decided to fight them. Also, like I mentioned before, the build I am using is Allcast Speedy G build. You can go to Allcast HQ or ESO Hub and check out his build for this. I don't believe it's changed very much since Ring of the Wild Hunt came out, so that means it's been the same for a year or two. They've tweaked Vampire a little bit since then, but overall the build stays the same. I know some people like to do the full sprint build where you just sprint really fast and grab nodes. That works. I've definitely tried that. It's super fine. This is just more my playstyle. So something I do want to mention, and I did not mention this in the last video. I touched on it, I guess, briefly, but there is something that I like to call incidentals. I would get familiar with this term because I use it a lot. That's other stuff you're going to find when you're looking for one main farming thing. So in this route, we're looking at ore, right? We're getting rubidite, we're getting platinum. I'm going to do this route until we get a full stack, but there are a few treasure chest spawns along the way that you could grab. There's also some runestones and some plant nodes. These are all the incidental things, right? Your things that you pick up while you're doing something else. This zone doesn't have great incidentals, right? So places like Northern Elsewhere or Craglorn, they have better incidentals. Although, I don't know, maybe if you're farming in Craglorn, you're probably just looking for Nern Crux, but Northern Elsewhere, you can grab like shimmering sand from portals that you see, or Somerset's another good example. You can grab Coulon de Liqueur. You can also potentially, if you wanted to, stop and fish and get a one of those Sigic bottles. I can't remember what they're called. The point is that there are other things along the route that you can find that will be valuable. Hews Bane does have some sometimes valuable gear. The two sets that come out of here, Baraha's Curse and Savara's Scales, they sometimes sell for a bunch if they are on trade and you gold them out or even get them to the purple quality. But I find that usually they're not in demand. They're very niche builds. I don't even know if they get used in PvP anymore. They've never really been PvE, at least not as long as I've been playing the game. So I don't think there's much reason to stop and farm chests, and you won't see me farm any chests in this video. There's also nothing cool that comes out of the Hughesbane chests. Some zones, like Vardenfell or the new zone Necrom, have paintings that are specific to a zone that you can get out of there. I don't think they were doing that yet when they released Hughesbane because I believe Homesteading came out after this. So you could potentially find some of the base game paintings or very rarely like a pattern, I guess. But again, it is very unlikely and it's not worth cluttering up, especially if you don't have plus. Treasure chests are just a pain. I guess even if you do have plus, treasure chests are a pain because most of that stuff will sit in your inventory. But you're looking at if you don't have plus, not only are your resources going into your bag, but now treasure chest stuff going into your bag. I would skip it. The zone doesn't really have it worth it. There are some ways that you can kind of make that gear worth money because there's a couple unique things about Hughesbane, but we'll cover that in some other video. Maybe it's not really farming per se, it's more along the lines of just doing daily content. And I do have a guide written somewhere about the best dailies to do, but that is a little out of date because I wrote that before the Deadlands came out, I believe. So everything is not quite accurate anymore. I also dumbly used actual pricing, which varies a lot, which is something we should talk about at some point, but I think not today. This is just for farming. Anyway, enjoy some music. All right, and so as you can see, we now have a full stack of platinum dust. I'm going to exit this area. So this route took me about 13 minutes or so to grab a full stack. Once again, this is probably pretty quick because there are usually people here, but I will say this was a relatively unlucky run. I did not find nearly as many platinum seams as I usually do. It's usually a little bit more balanced, but this time it was a lot of rubidite and not as much platinum. Still only took me 13 minutes. So that is this zone. Once again, do not do this during peak hours. There are always people here. So that's it. Stay tuned for more farming videos. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I've been F Baby, and I'll catch you later.